Joining me now is Senator Tina Smith of Minnesota. She's a member of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Senate Committee. Thank you so much for being here, and good morning.
Good morning.
Donald Trump has been paying attention to your state and to a major company in your state, 3M. And I want to briefly play you what he had to say about 3M during one of his, during yesterday's press briefing.
We're very disappointed in 3M. They should be taking care of our country, and they can sell to others, but they should be taking care of our country. The people that have dealt with them have dealt successfully with many companies over the last month. They don't like the way 3M has treated our country. They don't, frankly, like the representatives of 3M. And no act of you said piracy, right? Piracy?
For German.
There's been no act of piracy. No, there's been no act of piracy. It's the opposite. 3M has not treated our country well. And if they do, great. And if they don't, they're going to have a hell of a price to pay.
And to just add to that, this is a tweet that Donald Trump tweeted about them. This was a statement, that 3M posted after Donald Trump first tweeted about them, attacking them. Ceasing all export respirations. This is the export of respirators produced in the United States would likely cause other countries to retaliate and do the same, as some have already done, 3M said. If that were to occur, the net number of respirators being made available to the United States would actually decrease. What do you make of this behavior by the president of the United States, which, he brought the MyPillow CEO up to let him talk about religion, and he's sort of picking companies that he attacks and picking other companies to, I guess, promote?
Well, this is classic Donald Trump. And at a time when our country needs leadership, we need compassion, we need strength, what we have is this. If this is a public health war, we need a general. And what we have in Donald Trump is a pretender. And it just goes to show what a failing it is. I've urged the president to immediately do a Marshall Plan of the Defense Production Act in order to marshal all of the resources of the federal government to respond to this crisis. And this is just a symptom of his failure to do that. And using the Defense Production Act almost like a retaliation is just ridiculous.
Isn't it the case that Donald Trump has it in his powers under the Defense Production Act to compel 3M to produce more needed supplies and healthcare supplies for use in the United States? He's the person in charge of that. It's not 3M, it's him.
Exactly. This is the president's, he's the president. The president is treating this whole thing like it's some sort of a PR war when it is a public health war. And that's why many of us are urging him to use the full powers of the Defense Production Act to accomplish what we need to accomplish, which is a coordinated, comprehensive effort to get the supplies out into the field where they're needed.
And Senator, are you concerned that Donald Trump has placed his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who has no background that anyone can think of in public health or in handling this level of an emergency? He owns buildings, he rents out, commercial and residential real estate. It's not clear what qualifications he has. And he and his wife, quite frankly, have business overseas that we're not really clear what all of that is and whether that's related. Are you concerned that Donald Trump is getting his son-in-law so involved and putting him in charge?
Yes, I am. We need a general, and what we're getting now is a son-in-law. And the way that Kushner a couple of days ago responded to this question about the National Strategic Stockpile, and he said that stockpile belongs to us. It doesn't belong to the states. What does that even mean? When we know that what we are required in this moment in our country's history is that we all come together, we work together. I don't even know what that means. And it is a sign that Kushner doesn't begin to have the kind of crisis management skills that we need so desperately. Now, thankfully, we've got governors in many states, like our great governor here in Minnesota, who are coming together and are figuring this out on the ground. And frankly, to these governors, what the president does and says is pretty much irrelevant because he is not helping them. They are working around him to get the supplies and the medical needs filled that they have. You could see that with Kate Brown, right? Kate Brown and Governor Cuomo coming together. White House is almost irrelevant in their struggles.
And will there be Senate hearings to sort of walk through all of the failures that we've seen at the administration level, from the delays in terms of using Defense Production Act, the delays in using federal power, and also his family involvement, and Steve Mnuchin, quite frankly, being so involved in the negotiations over bailout money? Because it's not, I mean, there has been promises that Donald Trump cannot personally benefit from the bailout money, but there are also a lot of loopholes in there, Steve Mnuchin.
That's right. Well, and this is why Congress so carefully included 3 separate ways to provide oversight over how this massive bailout money gets invested. And already we can see the president striving to overcome that by putting his personal aide in charge of being the inspector general. And it's just overturning what Congress needs to do, which is to provide oversight. I would think that the American people would want to be able to know exactly how these dollars are being invested and how we're making sure that they are spent truly to save working people's jobs all over America.
Yeah, indeed. Senator Tina Smith, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time this morning. Stay safe.
Thanks so much, Joy.